Hi, welcome to BizzTalk. My name is David Rakers. I'm founder and CEO of syntyche and the Cybershop.nl. BizzTalk is our communication platform and where we meet vendors, suppliers, manufacturers and customers, and where we talk about services and products related to cybersecurity, privacy, and authentication. In BizzTalk right now, we have a very interesting guest. Well, let's join this meeting. Today in BizzTalk, we have our partner and manufacturer Cubbit. We welcome Stefano Onofri, co-founder and co-CEO, and Alessandro Taramelli, Director of Partnership and Distribution. Gentlemen, welcome to BizzTalk. Share with the viewers and listeners something about Cubbit, its team, and of course, something about yourself, Stefano.
At Cubbit now, we have more than 40 people working. We were able to become the first Italian startup that was invested by Techstars. It's one of the top 3 accelerators in the world. We were chosen in a cybersecurity program in Tel Aviv, in Israel, which is the country where most innovation is done in terms of cloud infrastructure and cybersecurity. And we were very proud of that. It was a very big recognition. We got funded by the European Union because in terms of digital sovereignty, we are offering a new technology that allows European-based companies and consumers to make sure that their data is not given away under other jurisdiction where we don't actually are anymore in control of what is being done on our data. And this is why also we were invited to become member of Gaia X, which is a very important initiative based in Brussels and involving more than 300 partners all around Europe, including the big cloud providers and telcos and many enterprises. They are working together to define a way to build an operational cloud where for Europe, where so the small cloud providers could actually agree on a common, let's say, software kit and enable users to switch from one to others smoothly, so that we can, as a continent, be more competitive at the edge of the cloud. It's been really a long journey of R&D. We are a deep tech company. It takes a lot of time to make even the smallest step, because what you see looks small, but what have been built behind the scene has been huge. So this is why we're so excited to find partners like you, David, from all over the world that embrace the technology innovation, understand that the internet wasn't built in a day, so it takes somehow patience to revolutionize the standard. But if we believe in that, together we can do it, and it's already an evidence. We are already doing that. Cubbit is up and running in 70 countries. We have thousands of users. We're growing a lot. We received also investment from VCs. We are, writing the history of the internet together. So thank you very much for having us today here.
Yeah. Stefano, explain to us, the listeners and viewers, the name Cubbit.
Cubbit is the merge of 2 words. The first one is Cubby, so C-U-B-B-Y, which is, especially in British English, it's the name that is used for the closet that kids at the kindergarten use when they got to school and they leave their personal affairs there, right? Their personal belongings. So basically, it's the easiest way, most simple way to store your stuff, and that it's impossible that somebody comes and take it away, because it's like we always feel so protected, like in school and kindergarten. And that's exactly the feeling that we want to give to our users when they store their own data online. And when the second word, of course, is bit, so the atom of informatics, and so Cubbit is the cubby for your bits.
Explain also the mission of Cubbit and how Cubbit operates?
So our mission at Cubbit is to enforce privacy by design in online and the data we store on the cloud. And to do so, we had to change the engine of the cloud. So the cloud is great because it changes our lives. It made possible things that 20 years ago were just unimaginable. But the limit of the cloud is that it's been built only on one engine, which is centralized data centers. So there's a company like Mr. Amazon, Mr. Google, investing billions of dollars in building huge, immense server farms and full of computers, and that's where they keep our data.
Share with us about the limitation of existing data centers, Stefano.
TISA has three big limitations. First of all, in order to use the service, we have to accept upfront to give the entirety of our files to somebody else, right? Is when you give your keys, when you go to holiday, you give your keys to a neighbor you don't know, right? It's very tricky. I wouldn't do that. The second part is the cost, because that infrastructure is very costly. And guess who's paying at the end? Well, as final users, right? And this increases the price of the cloud very much. And related to the centralized infrastructure, there's also the energy waste and the impact on the environment. Very few people have entered data centers, despite millions of people use the cloud every day, right? And very few people can understand and perceive how much the impact in terms of energy the data centers require. And to give you a data, it's data centers all over the world consume as much as the energy as the whole nation of France, right? 60 million people. So it's a huge amount.
Now, what are the benefits of Cubbit with this new cloud approach compared to existing data centers?
And thanks to our new technology, it's a peer-to-peer software, we can change the engine of the cloud. We can turn it from a centralized data center to a distributed peer-to-peer network.
Concerning our planet and CO2 reduction, how much of CO2 emission is reduced when using Cubbit cells and its cloud network?
So basically, it's very simple to remember. So 1 terabyte, which is what we usually take as a cloud account for storage solution, for personal use, if on Cubbit makes you save the same CO2 emissions that you would do by using your car 360 kilometers per year, which is 1 kilometer per day, right? So by using Cubbit, you can directly imagine the impact that you spare to the environment, which is exactly what you would use with your car to drive 1 kilometer per day, only if we were talking 1 terabyte. So you can sum this up for thousands and thousands of users, and you see how much the impact could actually be.
How many Cubbit cells are operational at this moment?
We have now more than 5,000 Cubbit cells spread across the globe. We're very happy that we started with a global approach. So we have countries, we are customers in 70 countries, mostly in Europe and then US, and that's the core of our innovation.
Now, Cubbit is inspired by bees and beehives and the power of cooperation bees have with each other. Stefano, could you elaborate on that?
So we thought that the best way for us to explain the power of our technology was to use the metaphor of the bees. Everybody knows bees, and bees are known for being cooperative. Together, they can build something extraordinary, which, by the way, is also sweet because it's the honey we produce. And whenever you see a bee, you are reminded of the power of cooperation, because one bee alone is powerless, but the swarm of bees together can do something amazing. And this is the core of our peer-to-peer software. So
privacy by design is important. How does Cubbit implement this approach?
Together, we can shape the cloud as we want to guarantee privacy by design. So in a simple way, it should be simple in 2022 to make sure that the data we want to protect is kept to ourselves, is not given away, and we are still the owner of the data, and to make the cloud less expensive and less polluting.
Now, the shape of the Cubbit looks like a cell in a beehive. It's a hexagon shape, isn't it?
It's an hexagon, which is a very nice Italian design that we made for the hardware. And you plug your Cubbit cells to your router, and you're good to go. It's just as easy as that.
Yeah. Stefano, how safe is the Cubbit cell or the Cubbit cloud compared to existing data centers?
You could actually think of data centers like the caveau of a bank. Everybody knows that the money is there. That's where they want to attack. In Cubbit, this doesn't exist anymore because files get encrypted on the client side. So we are a zero knowledge cloud provider, meaning that you as our users have the mathematical certainty that we do not have any access to your data. We don't know what you're storing. The data is only yours. We take your data encrypted and we split it in many chunks and we distribute it over the network. So we never put all the eggs in one basket, in other words. This diversifies the risk. So we never centralize risk. So there's no central point for external hackers or attackers that want to attack your files. They simply don't know where your files are, and which is an additional layer of security compared to centralized data center. So it's not only encryption, it's zero knowledge and distribution.
Now, Cubbit does not use blockchain. So what technology does Cubbit use for its cloud?
Blockchain is a great example of technologies that enables distributed use cases on the internet, but it is not the technology stack that we're using right now, because it would sort of add complexity to the system while it's not needed. Actually, if you look out there in other blockchain-based technologies, they never use blockchain to store the real data, but just to manage the metadata, which in any case, we encrypt the source, as I just said, with the zero knowledge encryption architecture. So adding blockchain layer would have made the system more complex and maybe slower. So we're not using that stack, despite we definitely find a lot of common points with blockchain-based projects in decentralizing the internet.
Stefano, Cubbit guarantees its user that it has no access to user files or their data. Can you explain that?
That's right. So it is one of the main challenges that we have, because you can imagine how hard it is to make a system work in order for you to access your data anywhere, anytime, with any device, to share them with whoever you want, without for our database to know what this data is about, even the name of the data. It's a very sophisticated advancement in encryption. But this is exactly the vision at the core of Cubbit. So we want to make it simple and smooth for the final user to access and use a system which is encrypted by design. And to make something complex simple, that's exactly where the big work of our R&D has been focused on for the last years.
Cubbit is both a business and consumer cloud solution, where cloud offers user Cubbit cells or a SaaS solution with subscription. Please elaborate on that.
We can serve with the same solution needs that sometimes are coming from users, and most of the time from businesses. So there's a specific let's say target of users that have responded very, very well to our value proposition of having an encrypted cloud for less money and with a green impact. And they're coming more and more from all over the world, actually. Especially it's people that have a significant amount of data to store, and the Cubbit cell for them is the best solution because it's an hardware that they purchase once and then it's theirs, like it belongs to them, so they don't have to renew a subscription. While on the other side, we're always also active for people who especially need to store less amount of information on a safe cloud. We just activated the possibility to subscribe to software as a service packages starting from a very small entry level of 100 gigabytes for something as low as 2.99 euro per month. So it's also another option that we are now offering to our users. And in this way, we can serve many more people according to their storage needs.
Yeah, interesting. Stefano, what benefits do users have when they purchase a Cubbit cell?
So if you buy the Cubbit cell, you get everything that is in the SaaS plus some benefits. The first benefit is that you're not required to pay any more for monthly recurring fees. The second benefit is that you get to manage 4 accounts. So it's something that it works very well, for example, in a small business environment or in a family. And it's all included in the same price. And the third advantage is that you can expand your Cubbit cell with external hard drives that you may have already at home. And you can literally turn your hard drives into cloud space by just plugging it to the USB door that you find on the Cubbit cell. Yeah. So that's the advantages that you get if buying the full cell.
Yeah. Why is Cubbit a great alternative for existing and new NAS users?
So let me share some data. 80% of our users already own a NAS. So they are finding Cubbit as a perfect integration rather than a substitution for their offsite backup. So because a NAS is amazing for many use cases, but it's got 2 main, let's say, limits. First of all, when you want to access remotely, it's always very painful because most of the NAS are not optimized in order to give you a smooth experience to access your files when, for example, you're from your mobile in holiday and you would really need to access that document or that picture, and it takes forever to access, right, and to retrieve it back. This is, of course, not a problem for our peer-to-peer cloud because our system is optimized for you to access from anywhere at any time, and you don't need to be locally in your Wi-Fi, in your LAN, let's say in your local network, right? The second main limit of a NAS is the disaster recovery. So a NAS is great for also redundancy because you have the right, many disks. So you make sure that you can mitigate the risk of every hard drive being burned at the same time. But in case of emergencies, like, I don't know, there's something as easy as the power goes off, there's a blackout in your neighborhood and you need to access the data, or, something worse, like it gets broken at the same time, like in a fire, or, whatever, it got stolen, like that would mean you lose all your data forever. There's no way back. Cubbit is a full cloud solution, meaning that the single device itself it's not a single point of failure. So the Cubbit cell, anything could happen to your Cubbit cell, but your data would still be safe, because thanks to the cooperation of our technology, your data is split encrypted and other peers are helping you to keep your information safe. So you're not a single point of failure for yourself.
Cubbit provides its Windows, Mac, and Linux users a desktop and web app tool to manage their files, folders, and data. Could you explain this to us?
Using Cubbit is very simple. You can use it from your desktop, so any operating system, Windows, Linux, or Mac. You can have your folder on your file system, and anything you drag in there, it's automatically synced on the cloud. With a right click, you can share files or folders with your friends or colleagues, or just send a link. The link can also be sent private, so only if you share also the encryption key, you can grant access to the other people. So you can really customize the way you want to share your files, and you can access Cubbit from any browser. So from the web app, you just log in at web.cubbit.io, and that's it. You can see all your files there and manage them.
Cubbit is developing a mobile app for Android and iOS. That's exciting. Please elaborate.
And we are also about to release the mobile app. We are making some native apps for Android and iOS. We already granted, the usage of the web app from mobile, so you can use Cubbit from mobile from even now. Simply, there's the native mobile apps that are about to be released.
Is Cubbit fast, Stefano, also observing your high level of encryption?
So first of all, the logic of encryption client side forces us to make the encryption process at the beginning before the data leaves your computer. So this takes a bit more time. And then whenever we upload the files, of course, in order to ensure redundancy, we, for example, if you're uploading a picture that is 10 megabytes, we are uploading an amount of information that is at least 15 megabytes up to 25. Of course, you have, say, more workload at the beginning in order to grant you more security and privacy. But despite of this, the usage of Cubbit is very smooth. We are increasing any release we do. We are increasing the speed in order to make it very easy for your clients to understand, to make it as much close as possible to the speed of Dropbox, just to say, which is everything that you need to have. As of today, we're still in releasing some enhancements, some improvements. But just to give you a number, David, in the last couple of months, we increased our speed for more than 4 times, and we are about to do the same. So it's really an exponential increase.
In your opinion, Stefano, how big or large is the cloud market at this moment? What do you think?
Is incommensurable. You can. Yes. It's growing every day, and it's easy, David, if you think right for your business or for your family pictures. I think they're just gonna increase. There's 2 trends, right? First of all, you're gonna take more and more data with a higher quality and higher size. And the second part is that you don't want your old data to be forgotten, right? You want to keep your document ideally forever, right? You want your kids to see your grandparents' pictures. So we all agree that in the next few years, the need for archiving and managing data is just booming more and more.
Which developments can we expect from Cubbit, such as your object store and the SDK? It's the development kit for developers.
So about the about the development of Cubbit and what we are working on, it's very cool to align that we are opening up our object storage SDK. So you can imagine that what we have built, it's an object storage layer. And on top of that, we have developed a syntyche application that you can use from the many clients, desktop, web, or mobile that we mentioned before. Nice. Now we made our object storage SDK S3 compatible. S3 is the let's say industry standard. Many applications run on that standard, and this very soon will allow you to get your object storage space from a cloud that is private by design, less expensive and more green, like Cubbit, and you could use that space to run your application. So this is a very important achievement for anybody which is in the development of application. This is where we're focusing our efforts right now. We are opening up our core, and in order for developers to use it as they wish and link it with the APIs with any other system. And these APIs were designed to be S3 compatible, meaning that for many applications out there, you just have to change one address in one line of code in order to point to our object storage, rather than all the traditional centralized data center. And that's everything you need to do to start using the service.
Stefano, explain why a CEO, a security team member, or CISO, or even developer should choose the Cubbit in relation to its public and/or private cloud.
6 out of 10 companies in Europe are still away from the cloud. It's a huge market, and there's a very big reason why still after 20 years of cloud, this majority of companies are not using traditional public cloud solutions, which is concerns about privacy and price. So it looks like that there's 2 massive options that you have. One is the public cloud, and the other one is the on-premises solution. So companies that are still on-premise, they are looking to be the only owner of their data and to optimize cost. Of course, there's a lot of pain and work and trouble and effort to keep running an on-premise solution. On the other hand, the public cloud is easier to use. It gives you more features, but you have to give up to your privacy and to spend a lot of money in order to pay for these services. Cubbit is the perfect solution that gives you the benefits of both the on-premise and the public cloud. So you get the features that you want from the public cloud, but you still are the only owner of your data, and you can contain the cost. So this is why we call ourselves the next generation of cloud, a new engine for the cloud. And just like, let's say, electric cars, electric engines are revolutionizing the way we conceived the mobility in terms of cost, performance, and also green impact. The same we're doing in the cloud. Embrace Cubbit, and we would love to help you in protecting your data forever.
Alessandro, you are responsible for partners, that's our company, and distribution of Cubbit cells all around the world. Now, Cubbit is a new generation cloud and requires therefore a mindset and perhaps even a behavior change, because it's a completely new cloud technology. We also heard from Stefano about the many benefits, such as zero knowledge, saving our planet due to zero CO2 emissions, and no subscription is actually required. So in your opinion, Alessandro, explain to us why Cubbit is gaining momentum. How was this for you in the beginning? And of course, it's getting more and more popular to the existing cloud market and its users. Could you elaborate on this?
Sure, David. Thanks for this question. For sure, and because we had several discussions in the past, it's really important at the very beginning to educate and to try to transfer the message and the technology of Cubbit. Sometimes it's not so easy to understand at the very first time. And to be honest with you, even for me, it was the same. The first time I had a meeting with Stefano and Alessandro and the other two co-founders of Cubbit, I was, I can say skeptical, very surprised. Then at the end of the meeting, I was really, really happy to have met these guys. But the first impression was, or it seems to me, so surprising that probably there is something I'm really not understanding. This was the first feeling I had in the past, and I think it's the same for the partners, because I have lived this situation on my shoulder. I think I'm able to transfer this kind of feeling to the rest of the partners. But please trust me that once the barriers of the knowledge is down between us and the partners, we have partners that are really, really interested in the technology. And I discovered that privacy is something that everyone, in particular in Europe, are really interested in. And and even the fact that the competitors of Cubbit are those big giants, in particular from the US, or in some cases from China, and we are Italian, we are an European company, is a point that it is really, really interesting for the partners. They want to have a relationship with an European company that can help them to enter the cloud market, that in the case of the major competitors that we don't have is a market that they cannot approach.